Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mark Roden, and today we have another part to the cars under every single budget range video. We've done things like the best front-wheel drive cars for every budget, best rear-wheel drive cars for every budget, JDM cars, tuner cars. We've done all kinds of things, baby. But today we're doing it on the 13 best looking cars for every budget. Now, obviously, looks are completely subjective. This is my opinion. These are cars that I think look good, and I think the majority of people would agree look good. But if you don't think they look good, I'm sorry. Hopefully you could find at least one car in this video that you think looks pretty cool. But yeah, we're going on the looks for today. Nothing. I don't care about the performance. I don't care about the reliability. I don't care about the price. Well, I do care about the price because it's under every budget, but we're strictly looking at the looks. And in case you don't know how these videos work, first is I give you a car for under 25K, then 20, then 15, then 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and $1,000 for any kind of budget out there. I got you covered, baby. Without further ado, let's get right into the video with the best looking car for less than 25K. So in my opinion, my humble opinion, I think the Porsche Cayman is an absolutely sexy car, and the fact that they're even under 25K in the first place kind of blows my mind. I could almost afford a Porsche Cayman. That's not like a flex. I'm not like saying like, yeah, I'm rich. I'm not rich. I'm actually really badly, I got some problems, but I can almost afford one of these things, and they're incredible. I've always dreamed of having one. They come with a 3.4 liter flat six, making 295 horsepower, and it's rear wheel drive. In case you don't know, this car was in the wonderful Need for Speed Most Wanted, and back in the day, I would always buy it because it was like a tier 2 car. Like, you unlocked it like after beating the first couple of bosses, and so you kind of had enough money to buy the tier 2 car, and you're like, oh, what should I buy? And I always bought the Porsche Cayman because it just looks that good. It literally looks like a mini 911, and in some cases I think the Porsche Cayman looks better than the 911. Now, I'm talking obviously about the first gen Cayman. The second one, which is like the 718 or whatever, that one is not under 25K yet, but that one also is very beautiful. But either way, the first gen is still well worth the money. But now let's jump into the wonderful $20,000 budget range with the Chevy Corvette C6. Baby. All Corvettes are pretty good looking. Even the C4, I think, looks pretty good, honestly. But they are getting, they are kind of pricey if you think about it. But the C6 and the C5s, dude, they're just dropping, and it makes me happy. The C6 comes with a 6-liter V8, making 400 horsepower in its rear-wheel drive. Like I said before, this list is not about performance at all, but let's talk about performance a little bit, because that's insane. 400 horsepower, LS V8, can easily make a lot more horsepower if you want it to. Handles good, because it's not just a fast and straight line American muscle car, but it's also a sports car that handles nice around tracks. It has everything you could possibly want, and then the looks on top of it all are incredible. They're incredible. That makes me so happy to see them. If you don't like the C6 Corvette, unsubscribe. Coming in for less than 15K is going to my car's little brother, the wonderful Nissan 370Z. I have a 350Z. As a matter of fact, guys, in case you guys actually care about this, some of you might, I got the 350Z running again, so I'm going to be making videos with that car again. I'm super happy. But either way, the 370Z, in my opinion, just looks spectacular. I actually do like cars like the 300ZX and the 350Z a little bit better. I think they look a little bit better, but the 370Z still looks really good. Comes with a 3.7 liter V6, making 330 horsepower in its rear wheel drive. Very decent horsepower. A lot of people sleep on these VQs. They say that they don't make enough horsepower, they're too slow. They're really not. 330 horsepower is plenty in a pretty lightweight rear-wheel drive car. I mean, it's not light. I would say it's like average for a sports car in terms of its weight, but it's a very quick little sports car. And in terms of the looks, dude, one time I was at a freaking gas station and some old man thought my 350Z was worth $75,000. So obviously they look pretty fast and pretty cool if people are thinking that they're worth 75 freaking K. For less than $10,000, however, back into the range where a lot of you guys are going to probably fall under, the Nissan 240SX S14 is a pretty good option. Now, is the S14 overpriced? Is the S13 overpriced? Yes and yes. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, it's a great price, it's a great bargain deal. No, it's not. These S14s are ridiculously overpriced, but they do look good, and they are under 10K. They come with a 2.4 liter inline 4, making 144 horsepower. So much fours in that name, and it's rear wheel drive. I love the S chassis in general. The S15 is one of the most beautiful cars in my opinion, and the S14 is just mwah, mwah. Also, by the way, I know people are going to ask, I'm on Team Kooky, okay, or Team Cookie, whatever you want to call it. I'm on that team. I like that one better. The Zanky one just doesn't look aggressive enough. I like the Kooky a little bit better. But either way, you can find them under 10K. Yes, there are plenty of these over 10K, but just, give yourself some time and eventually you'll find one under 10K. Less than $9,000, however, we're going to be talking about the BMW 650i E63. The E63 gets a lot of hate because of the rear end, and the rear end does look weird, but dude, over time, I feel like it has massively grown on me, dude. I love the E63's rear end now. The front end is just beautiful. It's a very like luxurious, nice looking car. Comes with a 4.8 liter V8, making 362 horsepower, and it's rear wheel drive or all wheel drive. Yes, it's 362 horsepower for less than 9K. Now, a 650i for less than 9K, is it the best idea to actually buy the car? I don't know, because, you know, those V8s tend to be a little unreliable from the BMW, so you definitely got to be careful there. But you can be done, and once you do, dude, it looks so bougie. It looks like you're a millionaire still, and the car was built in, like, the 2000s, like, 2010 era, and it still looks like a just rich boy car. I love it. I love everything about it. Especially if you're into like the luxury things, this is for you. Less than 8K, however, let's talk about my wonderful guilty pleasure, the Hyundai Genesis Coupe. I love the Gen Coupe. If you know this channel, you know how much I love the Genny Coupe. It just makes me happy, man. I actually like the BK1. I think the BK1 looks better than the BK2, but you could probably find both the BK2 and you could definitely find the BK1 for less than 8K. So kind of your pick there. If you do find a BK2, it comes with a 3.8 liter V6, making 348 horsepower, and it's rear wheel drive. Very good. The car also does come with a 2 liter turbo inline 4, makes significantly less horsepower than that, but the engine's better for tuning. So take your pick there. Would you rather have horsepower out of the gate, or would you rather tune it to make it a little bit faster? It's up to you. But either way, the car looks incredible. Every time I've seen one on the streets, it pops out. It's not like a boring car that you're just gonna forget about, and literally just lowering it and putting wheels on it completely changes this car. For less than $7,000, we're talking about the Toyota Supra Mark IV. Just kidding, it's the Mark III. If you could buy a Mark IV for under 7K still, I would have 5 of them. They're beautiful cars, but the Mark III is still a wonderful, wonderful car, especially since it has the pop-ups, dude. Some of you boys, I know some of you boys get a little bit excited with the pop-up headlights, so here you go. Comes with a 2.5 liter inline 6, making 200 horsepower in its rear wheel drive. Very average horsepower numbers. The engine's once again very average. I think it's called the 7MGE. I always get the engine wrong in the Mark III Supras, but it comes with some pretty average engine, pretty average horsepower. Nothing super great performance-wise, but like I said, it's all about the looks. And this car just strikes the looks, okay? It looks like if a S chassis had a baby with an A86, that looks like what this car is, and it's just a perfect mixture. Has the pop-up headlights, has the retro cool taillights styling. I love it. I love everything about it. You could even get it in a Target top. Oh my god. Speaking about beautiful cars that you can get in a Target top option, for less than 6K, the Nissan 300ZX Z32 is mind-blowing that it's still under 6K. This is like probably, I would argue this is probably the most famous, most popular, most loved version of the Nissan Z car, and they're still pretty cheap. Now, whoa, there's a hurricane going on upstairs. Now, you can't find the turbo one, but you still can find the base model, and it's still really good. Comes with a 3 liter V6, making 222 horsepower, and it's rear wheel drive. This car is definitely not for the new time mechanic, okay? The engine bay is really cramped. The engine's not the most reliable since it's old, and it's not gonna it's not the best for making power out of it either. It's just a very fun, nice looking sports car for somebody that, you know, has the ability to buy a second car, and it's gonna be like their little project. It's great though. Its looks were so good that Lamborghini stole the headlights from them, like with the Diablo. It's just, you can't argue that. You can't argue that that's a cool car. Less than $5,000. This is going to be a controversial one because I know a lot of people think that these cars look ugly, but I personally think they look incredible, and the people that do think they look incredible, I feel like massively outweigh the people that think they look bad. So it's the Infiniti G35 Coupe. For less than 5K, you could also probably get a 350Z if you buy like a salvage title, high mileage one, or maybe even an automatic roadster one. But I didn't want to include another Z. We already had the 300ZX and the 370Z. So here's a G35. It's pretty much the same thing. Comes with a 3.5 liter V6, making 306 horsepower, and it's rear wheel drive. Once again, I said it before, I'm going to say it again. These VQs, dude, get hate for having low horsepower way too much, dude. 300 horsepower for less than 5K in a rear wheel drive car that looks pretty freaking cool, in my opinion, is a good deal. And on top of that, it looks like almost like a 350Z Ultima hybrid, but it has 4 seats. It's just, there's nothing wrong with the G35 Coupe. I feel like people that hate them for the complete wrong reasons. Like, yes, the VQ community can be very annoying, but the car itself is a very cool car. For less than $4,000, however, this is another pretty controversial one, I would say, because it's the Lexus SC400. You could also get an SC300. It's going to be an automatic though, and I would just recommend, if you're going to get an automatic SC, might as well get the 400, because the 1UZ, in my opinion, is better than the naturally aspirated 2J. I said it, and I'm going to say it again. It's better than the naturally aspirated 2J. Now, the SC400 comes with a 4-liter V8, making 270 horsepower in its rear-wheel drive. Very good horsepower number for less than 4K. And you may be like worrying, you know, shaking in your boots, trembling a little bit, because you're like, oh, well, it's got a V8. Oh, I can't afford to drive a V8. Don't worry, bud. It's the 1UZ. It's the same V8 that came in the LS400. It's incredibly reliable, pretty decent on gas. It's not like a typical V8, okay? It's not like you're buying a German V8. You're definitely not buying no German V8. You're buying a Lexus V8. The car is going to be reliable. You don't got to worry about that. And in terms of its looks, I think it obviously looks incredible. Some people say it looks like an egg, and I can totally see where they're coming from, but I think the egg on this one looks very good. For less than $3,000, we're getting into that range where it's like these cars can be found under this price. However, I don't actually recommend buying them for that price. But it's the BMW 328i E92. You could find an E90 and it will be in better condition than the E92 for sure. But we're talking about looks here, and the E92 definitely looks better. The coupe looks so much cooler than the sedan. Don't at me. I said it. It comes with a 3-liter inline-6, making 225 horsepower in its rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Very good option for an engine. 225 horsepower is pretty decent. It's pretty reliable. It's going to get the job done. On top of that, it looks bougie, boy. It's one of those German coupes, okay? Everybody out there wants a German coupe, all right? I keep saying coupe because I think it sounds funny, but in reality, it's a coupe. It looks really cool though, okay? It looks amazing. My friend Ben, he had an E90 sedan, and even that looked cool in person. So an E92 coupe is just going to be even better. Less than $2,000, however, let's talk about American muscle again with the Ford Mustang New Edge. Notice that I did not say GT there, because sadly it is going to be pretty damn impossible for you to find a GT New Edge for less than 2K. It can be done. I would really highly recommend staying away from that car, but you probably could find it. But either way, if you're going for strictly looks, it doesn't really matter anyway. The car comes with a 3.8-liter V6, making 190 horsepower in its rear-wheel drive. It's still a very decent option, honestly. Like 200 horsepower pretty much in a rear-wheel drive, good-looking Mustang. For less than 2K is pretty good. Now, yeah, obviously, in the car community, they're going to make fun of you a little bit. You know, they're going to poke some holes at you, be like, hey, it's not a V8, bud. But it doesn't matter. It's all fun and games. You know, we're just teasing each other. They don't actually hate you. They just think it's funny. Okay, and at the end of the day, if you literally just care about looks, then why even spend the extra money for the V8 in the first place? You know, it doesn't really make much sense. But for less than $1,000, we are going to be talking about the Honda CRZ. This guy, every time I make a video, he's like, where's the CRZ? Where's the CRZ? Here it is, bud. We included it into this list. You can find a CRZ for under 1K. Do I recommend actually buying a CRZ for under 1K? Not at all. If you want one of these cars, good. They're a good car, but just, you know, save your money a little bit more and buy a nicer option of it. It comes with a 1.5-liter hybrid inline-4. I know I'm recommending a hybrid. Don't hate me. It makes 122 horsepower and it's front-wheel drive. One of the only cars on this list that are front-wheel drive. Actually, it is the only car on this list that's front-wheel drive. It's a Honda. You know, it gets the job done. It's going to be reliable as hell. I think it looks very different. I don't know if I'd say I think it looks great, but it looks very different. And when people like modify these things, yeah, it does look pretty good. It's like the Volvo C30. I don't know if you guys know what that car is, but the Volvo C30 stock does not look cool, but once it's modified, it looks great. And it's just the same way with these CRZs. Don't sleep on them just because they're hybrids. I get it. You know, we're not supposed to like hybrids because we're car guys, but dude, at least a hybrid's better than a freaking electric car. So, but ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of today's video of the 13 best looking vehicles for every price range, whether you have a $25,000 price range all the way down to only $1,000, you're living on death row, you're freaking, oh, I need my freaking $1,000 car. If you got $1,000, hey, I'm here for you. I am here for you, buddy. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Let me know what other videos you'd like to see. I am going to get out of here really quick because I got to go do something with my homeboys, so I got to hurry this up. But thank you guys so much for watching. Das Vidania, and have a nice night.